Good morning, friends. Just in the history of we have already discussed, but we will discuss about UGC NET exam unit number 10 research methods and materials in English. We will discuss about it, and it is the summary of this unit. At the beginning, we will discuss about what is a research. It is very important for us. So we are going to start here. What is a research? So talking about research, research is a systematic work that involves studying something and trying to discover facts about something. It involves a systematic investigation to establish facts or principles or to collect information on a subject. It is a systematic inquiry to describe, to explain, to predict, and to control the observed phenomenon. It is a careful and detailed study into a specific problem. Research is one of the ways to find objectives or answers of our questions, and that's why it has various methods to discover facts. And here we will can say that yes, we can say that it is a journey. Research is a journey from unknown to known, from unconscious to conscious. Yes, so there are some we will discuss words related with it. With it, we can say that research is the lifeblood of any institute of higher learning. It is more than a set of specific skills. It is a way of thinking. It critically examines the various aspects of any professional works. It is a structured inquiry that utilizes the acceptable scientific methodology to solve problems and create new knowledge that is generally applicable. The term research comprises of two words, re, and search. And here re means again, and search means to find out, to explore out. Uh, and ahead we can also abbreviate this word research, research. Here R means rational way of thinking, E means expert and exhaustive treatment, S means search and solution, E means exactness, A means analysis, R means relationship of facts, C means critical observation, careful planning, constructive attitude, and condensed generalization, and H means honesty and hard working. But here are some objectives and some we can say that purposes behind to do research. We must talk about it, and it is our duty to that what are the aims and objectives of the research. Talking about it, that uh, research gain familiarity with a new phenomenon or develop new insight into a phenomenon. It gives a review and synthesize the existing knowledge. It investigates some existing situation or problem. It offers solutions to a problem. It explores and analyze more general issues. It constructs or create a new procedure or system. It generates new knowledge. It explores to something new and grand, gathering knowledge. It discovers new facts or add to existing knowledge theory. Here really we gather here relevant information on various topics also. It also tests and analyzes cause and effect relationships. There is the application of various theories to explore uncover facts also. Research expand knowledge regarding various topics. So Right, we can talk about the what is the importance of is research. It is also very important. In present era, research is a very unique field in which uh, the pupils and the candidates try to expand the knowledge on particular topic or particular field. So you can say that research is important to provide various solutions to problems in society, in the world or universe. And here it means it is a means to understand, to decipher various issues in society also. It is a tool, the medium to expand knowledge so that new theories are formulated. Such is important to explore new things which earlier hidden. This is the importance of research, and which about we have already talked. So talking about the features or characteristic of must discuss it also. Researcher first characteristic is objectivity, and we must talk about it. That is, it means objectivity means research is without any bias. All other characteristics are built around it. Researchers usually take utmost precautions that results are not affected by their own presence, behavior, and attitude. They critically examine the research methods to avoid any bias. Our second objective of research, that the reliability. And reliability in the context of research means consistency. It refers to the extent to which an investigation produces consistent results. Can also be termed at verifiability. Research is verifiability also. And here we can the next is validity, also one of the important characteristic of feature of the research. Validity in research mainly stands for accuracy of procedures, research instruments, and tests. But the concept of validity can also be understood by posing a question. The question is very important. Are we measuring or able to measure what we originally intended to measure? Here, validity means that research must be unbiased and free from any systematic error, as these may impact the applicability of research. Without validity, research goes in the wrong direction. And generally, we can say that validity is termed to be much more important than reliability. To keep the research on the right track, it is, it is must that the concepts are defined in the best possible manner so that no error occurs during measurement. Next feature is accuracy. It is closely related to validity. It is also the degree to which research processes, instruments, and tools are related to each other. Accuracy measures whether the research tools have been selected in the best possible manner and research procedures suit the research problem or not. Rigorous scientific methods and procedures have been adopted in research, and each step in the research is tested for accuracy. Next one feature is credibility. It is the use of the best source of information. It is the best procedure in the research. The use of secondary data saves time. It reduces cost also. The excessive reliance on secondary data when the option of primary data is available, it enters the risk of reducing the credibility of the research. Has to be trade off between primary data and secondary data. The next feature is general generalizability. Generalizability is related to validity actually. It refers to the degree to which research findings can be applied to a larger population. The sample considered is the representative of the whole population, So the findings should also be applicable to the whole population. Next one is empirical research. Empirical research is based on real life experiences, direct experiences, or observation by the researcher. It implies that research is related basically to one or more aspects of a real situation and deals with concrete data that provides basis for external validity to the results of the research. Next feature of the research is systematic. So research is a systematic process, and it is the duty of researcher that he has, or she should do it systematically, because for a research to be effective, it must be systematic. It is the only approach to undertake any research work, and each step must follow the other. There are a set of procedures that have been tested over a period of time and are suitable to use in research. Therefore, each research should follow a definite procedure. The next feature is cyclical. This is a cyclical process. There is a cycle. There is a sequence doing research, because it starts with a problem and ends with a problem. That's why it is called cyclical. Logical also there. We find in the research there is a use of you can say that intellectual logic, because a good research is logical. It implies that research is guided by the rules of logical reasoning. Induction and deduction are of great value in research, which have been discussed under types of research. The next characteristic is replicable. It allows the results of the research to be verified by replicating the study and thereby building a sound basis for decisions. So these are the some uh, features of research. Hate think about the types of research topic about which we must discuss thoroughly, and really types of research is most important topic. At the beginning, talking about the first type, descriptive research. And talking about the descriptive research, we find that the term descriptive is self-explanatory, and the research that describes a situation, an event, and an institution is descriptive research. Descriptive research describes the nature of a situation as it exists at the time of study. Descriptive research answers the questions who, what, where, when, and how. It is a quantitative research method. In simple words, descriptive research is all about describing the phenomenon, observing and drawing conclusions from it. Uh, it concludes surveys and fact findings, inquiries with adequate interpretations. But we can say that there are some types of descriptive research, such as cross sectional study and longitudinal study. There is talking about the another type of research, that is that one is post facto research. And post facto research is used in social sciences and business organizations. It is conducted in context of a phenomenon after it has occurred or at the time of its occurrences. Post facto research deals with non manipulated variables of a phenomenon. There is a next type, historical research. Historical research is another dimension of descriptive research and somewhat similar to ex post facto research. It usually focuses on the historical aspects of an issue of interest or problem. Next one, analytical research. In this method, the researcher uses facts or information already available. It attempts to make critical evaluation of the material. Next one is explanatory research. Explanatory research attempts to answer how and why between two aspects of a situation or a phenomenon. For example, why examinations related stress leads to root learning, why and how stress leads to a heart disease. Next one is exploratory research. Exploratory research is done in the beginning of a research. It is undertaken to explore an area where little is known or to investigate the possibilities of undertaking a particular research study and is akin to feasibility study, pilot study. Exploratory research attempts to clarify why and how there is a relationship between two or more aspects of a situation or phenomenon. The purpose of exploratory research is to gain background information, to define terms, to clarify the problems, to develop hypotheses, to establish research priorities, objectives, and to develop questions to be answered. It makes use of secondary data, uh, projective techniques, Delphi techniques, experience surveys, case studies, interviews. And the next one is experimental research. We will talk about it, experimental research. And so, in the experimental research, we find that it is designed for establishing causal relationships. It begins with a question concerning the relationship between two or more variables. Simultaneously, the researcher develops one or more hypotheses to state the nature of expected relationships. The experiment is the event planned and carried out by then researcher tries to get evidence. The application of experimental method yielded better results in physical sciences. Therefore, this method was soon applied to other sciences like biological sciences and medicines. The variable upon which the effects of changes are observed is called dependent variable, and in experimental research we find control, because control is the first essential ingredient of experimental research. The main purpose of control is an experiment is to arrange a situation in which the effect of variables can be measured specifically to evaluate the effects of an independent variable. And we find that manipulation refers to a deliberate operation performed by the researcher, in contrast to the descriptive research, in which the researcher simply observes conditions as they occur naturally. The researcher in the experimental research actually sets the stage for the occurrences of the factors whose performance is to be studied under conditions where all other factors are controlled or eliminated. And in experimental research, we find we are interested in the effect of the manipulation of the independent variable on a dependent variable. So, reflexivity refers to circular relationships between cause and effect. A reflexive relationship is bidirectional, with both the cause and the effect affecting one another in a relationship in which neither can be assigned as causes or effects. Uh, there is another type of research, that is a fundamental or basic or pure research, because the main purpose of basic research is to add to the existing stock of knowledge, and thus it can be intellectually challenging. The knowledge produced through pure research is sought in order to add to the existing body of research methods. Fundamental research is not likely to have any practical application at the present time or even in the future. There is another type of research, that is applied research. Applied research is done to solve specific practical questions facing the society. It can be used for policy formulation, administration, and understanding of a phenomenon. Applied research is always done according to basic research and can be carried out by academic or industrial institutions. There is another type of research, that is directive research. It is also termed as top down or general to specific approach of the research. In deduction, we start from a theory and try to prove it right with the help of available information. The deductive method involves the following involves some steps also, such as state the hypothesis, collect data to test the hypothesis, make decision to accept or reject the hypothesis. Next, next type of research is inductive. Inductive research is also termed as bottom up approach. In inductive research, we move from specific to general. This approach also involves the following steps. First one, observe the different phenomena in the world. Second, make a search for a pattern in what is observed. And third one is make a generalization about what is occurring. And there are also some other types of research we can discuss. First one is structured research. The structured research is to inquiry, and everything that forms the research process, such as objectives, design, sample, and the questions that a researcher plans to ask of respondents in predetermined. It is more appropriate to determine the extent of a problem, issue, or phenomenon by quantifying the variation. There is another, the research. Unstructured research to inquiry is classified as qualitative research. It allows flexibility in all aspects of the research process. It is more appropriate to explore the nature of problem, issue, or phenomenon without quantify quantifying it. Next type of research is quantitative research. Quantitative research is similar to directive research. It is also termed as linear research. Uh, in quantitative research, we find some steps such as stating with testable hypotheses, collecting of data, analyzing the data, accepting or rejecting the hypothesis. Quantitative research is mostly associated with the positivist or post positivist paradigm. It involves collecting and converting data into numerical form. We can do statistical calculations and draw conclusions. So that there is qualitative research. Uh, Qualitative research is an approach and not just a method to conduct research. It is inductive or spiral in nature. It has very different structure. The researcher starts with a tentative idea or question, and these questions become more specific with progress in research. Then a pattern may emerge in qualitative research. In qualitative research, one starts with observation and ends with a theoretical position. or stance. Qualitative research is inductive in nature. Uh, there is another type of research is narrative research. It is an approach to review the literature. Sometimes it is contrasted with a systematic review. It tends to be less focused than a systematic review, and it seeks to arrive at a critical interpretation of the literature that it covers. Next, case study research is there. Case study research is mostly used to study an organization or an entity. This research method has evolved over the years as one of the most valuable qualitative research methods. This type of research is used in the areas of management, education sector, philosophical and psychological. Case study research involves a deep dogging into the developments and collects data. And here is next is action research is there. And can say that the action research was coined during 1940s by Kurt Lewin, Kurt, Kurt Lewin, Lewin. Kurt Lewin is a German American social psychologist. He is widely considered to be the founder of action research. And action research emerges out of situational needs, and solution to a problem is also designed with respect to the situation. As problem emerges in practical real life situation, the action is to be taken in real world as well. Through action research, we intend to discover new and alternative ways to achieve our objectives, be it teaching or management sector. The focus of action research may be more on problems that need urgent attention. Action research is mostly in social situations such as in educational institutions. As action research is collaborative approach, co-learning is also the outcome. Just as action research is self-initiated, since it evolves out the perception of problems by the practicing individual or group, it becomes self-evaluative where the action research team evaluates the outcome of the exercise. Action research has been discussed in the process especially. And there is another research was there, mixed research. Both quantitative and qualitative researches are not exclusive. Qualitative research may end in hypothesis, and quantitative research may involve qualitative research elements. Quantitative research may answer questions, but it may not be efficient in answering questions such as what is the experience of facing poverty, hardships, consequences, and circumstances that lead to poverty. This may be answered by qualitative research. As quantitative research is generally well known, it may be useful to outline when qualitative research is needed. There is another one type of research is conceptual research. Conceptual research is generally used by philosophers and thinkers to develop new concepts or to reinterpret existing concepts. It is related to some abstract idea or theory. The mm, next type of research is empirical research. In empirical research, it relies on experience or observation alone, which is without due regards for system and theory. It is data-based research coming up with a conclusion that are capable of being verified by observation or experiment. In empirical research, The researcher must formulate a working hypothesis. He collects data to prove or disprove his hypothesis. The researcher is in control over the facts. Empirical research is appropriate when proof is sought that certain variables affect other variables in one way or another. So, there ahead we can discuss research process. So, at the beginning, we can discuss that formulation of research problem. How we can select, yes, how we can select the research problem. We should discuss about it. So, here we must before selecting or before finalizing research problem, we must study about that particular topic. Yes, the researcher must study about the particular topic. The research already have completed or done by any other researcher, we must discuss about it, study about it. After that, uh, uh, when the researcher when the researcher decides to make the research problem, so he must also finalize the objectives of the research problem. After that, he also identify research variables and he must measure skills also. And after that, he should be formulate the hypothesis. The second point is preparing research design. In research design, how the researcher will be structuralize the problem, how he will present the problem with solution in particular structure. So how there will be a design of a study of the researcher, and how the researcher will experiment there or non-experiment study, what he or she will do. It's about developing data collection. So here, with the help of various types of data, the researcher will collect the data. There are some methods of collecting data. The researcher will study about it. After that, the researcher will design the research tool. There is the next one: selecting samples types. Selecting samples. Yes. So after that, the researcher will select the samples to find out the solutions of the problems, such as probability, non-probability, determining sample design. After that, writing research proposal. So here the researcher will present what is the need of this particular research, this particular problem, why we should study about this particular problem, what are the benefits after doing research on this problem, which kind of data we will collect to find out solution of this problem, and at last justification for funds and other resources will be there. So that they will collecting data. So after there will be one single view looking towards the problem, and the researcher will find out the solution through his plan or structure. And for that, he will collect data through observations, interviews, questionnaires, schedules, whatever is there. After that, the researcher will process and analyze on in like already collected data. The researcher will edit and code the data. He will classify the data, he will tabulate the data, he will analyze the data, he will utilize hypothesis testing and generalize it. And last one, writing a research report. So here we find there is the sequence, there is the index of writing research report, such as title page, table of contents, chapters, bibliography, appendices. Yes, appendices. These points we have. There are some major points which about we must discuss. Yes, some points which are very important discussing about this one. But in the research ethics is the most important point. So at the beginning we will talk about research ethics. Research ethics. Ethics is the principle and guideline that helps us to uphold the things we value. Ethics and law are different aspects. Um, Although laws of the land are intended to be based on certain ethics, yes, and here ethics emerge from conflict between values, and research ethics are not an exception. In research, these conflicts may take different forms, such as participants' concern for privacy versus some justification for manipulation, openness and replication versus confidentiality, present loss versus future benefits, and so on. Each decision made in research involves a potential compromise of one value for another. However, still researchers must try to minimize the risk to participants, colleagues, and society while trying to optimize the quality of outcome. Research ethics help us to reconcile value conflicts. Research ethics helps in promoting the aims of research. It promotes the values that are essential to collaborative work. It holds the researcher accountable to the public and society. It helps in building public support for research, which in return can help in getting participants. And there is another point. That one is meeting is there. So meeting is an assembly or coming together of people, be it a symposium, workshop, conference, or so. In a very remote sort of a way, all of them convey the same meaning. For example, people coming together for a purpose. The beginning first point is symposium. So we must talk about it. After meeting, we will talk about it. Symposium. Symposium is a formal meeting at which specialists deliver short addresses on a topic or on related topics and then answer the questions relating to these topics. It is especially one in which the participants form an audience and make presentations. Symposium is also defined as a collection of writings on a particular topic, as in a magazine. Next one is colloquium. 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 Colloquium is an academic meeting at which specialists deliver addresses on a topic or on related topics, then answer the questions relating to these topics. A colloquium is targeted to a well educated but not specialized audience. One is conference. Conference is a meeting of people who confer about a topic. It is a meeting where people come for discussion. It features keynotes and presentations delivered to all attendees, as well as multiple breakout sessions. Attendees expect to receive information about industry trends and developments. It can be an academic conferences, a business conference, a parent teacher conference, a peace conference, etc. This next one, webinar or web conferences. We must also discuss about it. Webinars or web conferences are presentations that involve an audio and video component. The audio portion of the event is delivered via phone or over the internet so that participants can listen via their computer speakers. The video portion of the event is delivered via the internet, giving participants a presentation to watch while listening to the instructor. Next one is seminar. Uh, s- Seminar is a formal presentation by one or more experts to a small group of audience. It can be conducted on recurring or regular basis, monthly or even weekly. There is an invited speaker. Audience is much more technically versed or specific in nature. The motive behind the seminar system is to familiarize the students extensively with vital aspects of their study, and also to allow them to interact with examples of practical problems that always occur during study or research work. Thus, a seminar is a form of academic instruction either at an academic institution or offered by a commercial or professional organization. The next one and last one, that is a workshop. A workshop tends to be smaller and more intense than seminars. This format involves students practicing their new skills during the event under the watchful eye of an instructor. Hands on workshops typically involve participants doing work on a particular issue during the program. The promise is that when they leave, they will have an at least rough plans or tools in place to address the challenges. So here we discuss. So next point, that is a research of literature or literary research. We must discuss very important point in the present era, because on top of NTA, NET and SET exam, and in Unit 10, research methods and materials in English. So firstly, we must study about what is the literary research. Actually, what is the concept literary research, and it is our duty to discuss about it. Literary research. So, literature research refers uh, especially to the scholarly critical study of literature, generally for analysis purpose. It is often done as part of a degree program, such as a degree in English, but some people simply choose to study literature on their own as part of a hobby. Basic literature research may also take place in high school, but most students do not really begin diving into true literary analysis until college. For professors of literature, this type of research will generally continue throughout their careers, uh, and that's why it is very important. And the nature of research differs. The nature of research differs from subject to subject. This is because the materials and tools, yes, because the materials and tools of each subject are largely different, such as physics, chemistry, botany, zoology, and other natural sciences study material. Their basic tools are observation and experiment. Social sciences, uh, the social sciences study man and his behavior. Observation and interview are the important tools that we use in social. Literature is different from the natural sciences and social sciences. It is a product. Literature is a product of creative writing. Literary research cannot confine itself to either text or the writer. It has to study both text as well as writer. Literary research can use Literary research can use various theories which are applied to a literary text to look for new hidden aspects in a text. Literary theories offer a lens through through which one can approach various texts such as novels or poems. The methods for literary research are generally fairly similar across the board. An individual wanting to study a certain aspect of a piece of literature, such as uh, a certain theme, yes, or a certain genre, we can say that a certain form will be there, yes. And there are so many things. So it is also common practice for literature researchers to compare a few different works to each other. This can be different works by the same author or by different authors or so. The process of literary review, critique, and analysis can be lengthy and challenging. It is necessary in literature research or literary research for the researcher to add his or her own ideas. In addition to the primary and secondary sources she collects for the research, and that's why literary research plays a vital role in the all fields, and we must study and it. So, so the next one is objective of literary research. Um, Literary research helps us locate journals and books in a library, and it is an advancement of knowledge. So that broadening the mind and sharpening critical insight of the researcher. Literary research creates a genuine and intelligent interest in literature. Uh, it creates a sense of belongingness to a collaborative community. It creates a work in the contemporary intellectual frontier. It explores the printed material and also unpublished material for the present study. It finds out hidden linkage in various unpublished material in ancient and present context of research. It finds out proper meaning of unsolved and doubtful concepts in materials, and it establishes the author's in-depth understanding and knowledge of their field's subject. It gives the background of the research. It portrays the scientific manuscript plan of examining the research result. So here are some types of literary research. Yes, the first one is bibliography and textual criticism. First type, textual research is concerned with the establishment of authoritative text, correction of past editions, chronology, authenticity, and attributions. No reader can appreciate a text that is full of errors. Secondly, he must know that the text is reading uh, is a genuine one. Critics have been misled by printing errors or faulty text. There is another type of literary research, biographical, theoretical, interpretative. But the most important point on which we must highlight that is qualities of an ideal researcher. Uh, a good research scholar shows dedication to learning. Skepticism is a very important trait of a researcher. He should have the ability to question various things and to look for answers. Command of language in which the research will be initiated is also important. A researcher should have a social and intellectual background. Knowledge of literary movements is mandatory for literary research to know as to how various movements impacted the text and the writers. Approaches to literature of new criticism, feminist criticism, Marxism, deconstruction must be studied by the researcher, and the researcher must have knowledge about linguistic. He must have knowledge about the classical literature, ancient myth also. So these are these. Now, after that, material for literary research. So we must talk about it. First one, manuscript is there. Yes, manuscript. A manuscript is the work that an author submits to a publisher, editor, or producer for publication. After that, editions are there. Yes, editions. Next one. Printed editions are not always reliable and pose before the researcher the following issues, such as there is a considerable difference between the manuscript and edition. The number of an edition or reprint is seldom printed. The year of publication is rarely recorded. There are pirated editions and forged manuscripts after the paper there. The study of the paper is important for determining the date of the text. A paper expert will tell us the age of the paper after examining its quality and watermark. Once we have, once we come to know the date of, uh, once we come to know the date of the paper of a text, we can assume that the text was written after the date. The next point about which we must discuss, that is ink. Yes, ink. Ink is the third important part of the materials. To take a simple example, if someone comes with the manuscript written with a ballpoint pen and claims that it belongs to the 19th century, we will at once say that he is cheating because ballpoint pens did not exist at that time. A book on the history of ink will tell us kinds of ink that were used in different ages. So this was a very important topic we discuss here. And 8, we also must discuss that one. Next tool is bibliography. It means a list of books and articles on a given subject or and the author. The term literary research means the science of books. The four kinds of bibliographies are listed as follows. First one, historical. Historical bibliography includes the history of book production, which includes the history of writing, printing, binding, and publication, primarily concerned with library sciences. After that, we find enumerative tool of research. Yes, it helps the researcher to know the books he actually needs. The standard bibliographies, like the Cambridge Bibliography of English Literature, published every year, help the students prepare a working library. After that, practical bibliography is there. It is concerned with the methods of work of the student and author reading, compilation of notes, preparation of manuscript. After that, note system is there. Yes, we can hear this ink bibliography. After that, note system is there. So in it, we can discuss that notes provide facts for future reference. Note taking helps students concentrate attentively during lectures and study of books. Different people have different reasons for taking notes, and to a considerable extent, the reason dictates the way in which the notes should be taken. After that, scientific tools is there. Yes, it is scientific tools. Spelling mistake is there. uh, Clear it, such as tape recorder and television and VCR. Through these in recent era, we find YouTube, Google, Yahoo, search. There are different kind of search engine. Internet is there. So with the help of those scientific tools, we can also collect the data. Textual analysis. Through this, we are able to demonstrate how the different components of literary text are related to one another. Textual analysis is concerned with words and syntactical structure of the text, and especially more about the literary research, especially in English language. Yes, so there are research in English literature versus research in English language. We find talking about research in English literature. So here, one of the researcher who applies one of the theory to the particular text, one of the idea or philosophy to the particular text. Otherwise, he will study on the thematic analysis of particular literary text. Otherwise, the researcher will study comparatively of two writers or two texts, two or multiple texts in a recent area of the literature. We find translation studies and stylistic appreciation or criticism happens. And if the researcher want to research in a language field, so ELT method is there, that find linguistic oriented language theories such as problem and application theory, comparative or historical linguistic, culture and language. On these points or on these in this field, the researcher can research. And these are the points where we have already discussed. Very important this way. So in this way, we have uh, discussed Unit 10 in short summary or UGC Unit. Thank you. See you.